So you guys are successful. What do you attribute the success to right now?
The concept and the heart behind the restaurant. The goal is to create an environment where people feel amazing to work at.
What are the top 3 reasons restaurants fail? There's a restaurant that's been blowing up all over social media and online, and that is Elmina. Elmina is in Washington, D.C., and they serve West African food. It is owned and operated by Chef Eric of Top Chef. He's won numerous accolades, numerous awards. He's a very well-respected chef, and I came to check out this freaking hype. But not only that, Chef Eric gave us the honor to interview him. He gave us the 3 things that has made his restaurant insanely successful, and I'm gonna break it down for you right now. Take this blueprint and steal it.
Preston, we're here, man. Welcome to DC, 14th Street, and we are in front of my restaurant, Elmina.
The way you've designed this is with different rooms and different aspects and stuff like that. You have everything with intention, which is super impressive.
And as you see, man, when we walk in, the different sort of areas that we have sectioned off, as you mentioned, man.
Yes.
So, Akwaba, how we say welcome in Tree, one of the many languages in Ghana. We have different sections of the restaurant dedicated to different commodities, things that bring wealth to not only Ghana, but West Africa. So that was the first floor, and we'll head up to the second floor right now.
Yeah.
This space, the inspiration is the Atlantic Ocean. So you'll see all throughout, especially here on the sconce, we have
awesome.
a lot of waves and curvature to sort of like represent that Atlantic Ocean. And then similar to the first floor, with my grandmother, second floor, my daughter,
that's awesome.
is here. Same artist from Ghana that commissioned to do this work. I think objectively, one of our sexiest, the sexiest space in the restaurant. This is the sugarcane room, and automatically you feel the temperature change. It feels a little bit more tropical, and that's exactly what I wanted to do here, man.
Wow.
So I love it. We have this amazing art here. Believe it or not, that's AI generated. So yeah, this is the space, man. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Yes,
I can't
sir.
wait to get some food and enjoy the full-on experience.
Yes, sir. So objectively, our most popular dish here in the restaurant is our jollof duck pot. So we have jollof rice, classically made, the way grandma would have made it. And then we have duck 3 ways. So we have duck breast, duck leg, and a duck egg. Both the breast and the leg have been brushed with a sweet, tangy tamarind glaze. Then you have a duck egg sunny side up. We have our house-made hot sauce, shito sauce, and a roasted tomato salad. So enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yes. How long has this restaurant been open?
So we are open now 5 months, going on 6 months in a couple weeks.
So you're
Halfway. We're brand new, man. We're fresh.
I realize that. I thought it was 2 years for some
Yeah.
reason. Okay, so you guys are successful, and now, right now, just what do you attribute the success to right now, full-heartedly?
Yeah, like one thing I love about what we're doing, I think it's been building blocks to my career. People understand, like me, they saw me on Top Chef talking about this food. I've been able to be on Food Network and other great like platforms, partnerships with great, orgs and collaborating with them as well. So this has sort of been like that like pinnacle moment where people can literally come in. I've been cooking privately and for events, where I'm the one going to feed people. Now people are coming to me, and I think that's awesome. What I think really is contributing to success as well is how we're handling things internally. There's so much to the business. This is my 5th opening altogether, but the first that's completely my own, right? So there's also like things behind the curtain that I'm like, oh, plumbing costs this much? Oh, I didn't know that. Like, all right, cool. Oops, exactly. That I'm learning on the fly as a leader. But I think the concept and the heart behind the restaurant, people are really understanding and feeling. And I don't know if you can say the same for so many other, restaurants, good or bad or whatever the case is. But ultimately, and I love this about where we are in DC, I think African food, I think this city has become or is becoming the ground zero for African food in the world. There's so many great African restaurants in DC. And I think it's amazing to see like this cuisine and this continent being celebrated in a way, that it's having its moment right now. There's obviously Elmina, there's Marcus DC that just opened up, there's Dogon, there's the continent, there's Swahili Village, there's Dukums of the world, and all these amazing East African, restaurants as well. And per capita, I can't think of another space, and I've been a lot of places, you have as well, that have so many like, a condensed amount of African food here. And that's fantastic, especially in a world where you go to any major city and there's tons of, and they're all great, Italian, French, Peruvian, Chinese, like all these restaurants are, cohabiting with each other and sort of creating this ecosystem of what our food tastes like. And I think we're having that moment right here. And I'm so blessed to be a representative of this, this food in this region. And there's, familiarity. Like there's so many Africans that are here in the DMV area, District Maryland, to Maryland, DC, Virginia, but then curious diners as well. Like we have, Michelin here. There's a lot of, really interested people who know food. And even if you're not familiar with the flavor profiles, what a well done steak, you know what I mean, or a prepared steak is, or how when the dish says broiled, what that looks like, what to anticipate. So we have a lot of educated diners here that put us to task as well and keep us honest as a restaurant. So I think it's that culmination of all the stuff, especially though, like I can't forget about the internal. I have a great management team, a chef de cuisine that has traveled from New York with his family down here because he believes in me and this concept. A general manager that has worked in so many places but believes in this concept. And then, high turnover is always a big deal in restaurants, but we've had an amazing account of just people who have been here since day one.
That's awesome.
And they haven't left, and they see the vision of it as well. So I think that buy-in and really, as humbly as I can say this, coming from me as where it starts,
Yep.
I have a very specific goal. I have a way that I want. The goal is to create an environment where people feel amazing to work at, but then like the accolades and all that stuff, like I have those goals as well. I want to hit them. And I know working in Michelin star restaurants and James Beard Award winning restaurants, I know that mark. And, I think we're there. I think we can get there and beyond. So keeping all that the main thing, I think that's really been contributing to the success of the restaurant.
Chasing excellence.
Chasing excellence.
And I want to say too that, it is you, right?
Sure.
All this stuff, like you can't have a good leadership team without a good owner.
Sure.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
You might have one manager that you might have like stuck
Yeah,
in
yeah.
because you just got lucky.
You should
but
tell that to the Knicks, man.
What's that?
You should tell that to the New York Knicks.
Yes, dude. Our dad's from New York, so we're Knicks fans. You still a Knicks fan? Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? I don't blame you. You got to
It's a lot sexier, but yeah, I'm a Knicks. But wait, but the Knicks,
massive Knicks fan.
we did all right. We're looking good for the first time ever.
This is stepped away.
Yeah,
He's stepping away.
that's awesome. Yeah, because like, dude, the last time we had any luck was like Spreewell and Gumby.
Yeah. Camby was there. Yeah.
Who else? We had Spreewell and Camby.
It was Houston, Marcus Houston,
and then we had
Patrick Ewing.
Ewing.
Yeah.
That was one. And Spreewell, I love him. He was rugged. But
That was my guy.
yeah, same. I loved him. Choked out his coach. I love it. He's gonna play hard.
It was it.
But so yeah, it's good ownership, right? That's really what it comes down to, developing your people, and you take all the credit for that, and you also take all the credit when it doesn't happen. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you should take that and like you said, you have all the makings here for sure. Like it's here. It's just the timing is what it's going to be about. And what you're talking about too, developing people, chasing the awards, is chasing excellence.
Yeah.
Right? You're not like, I want to franchise, grow, and this. I'm sure that's in the plan somewhere.
Right.
But right now you're like, I want to just make this the best it could be.
That's it.
And that's great. Now, so what was your favorite show to be on?
Ooh, Top Chef, man. Like it's the creme de la creme. They get the Emmys for the reason, like they perform, man.
So like production wise, right? Like, was that the best experience?
Production value, production wise,
yeah. Like as a person on the show, this is maybe his way it's ran or whatever.
I had no idea what I was walking into. Like I was completely green to all of this. Like it's a freaking world behind the camera, man. Like there's so many departments: art, culinary department, video, audio. So I really had a true appreciation for what goes behind the scenes, man, and what they need to capture for us. But yeah, man, they're professionals. Like they'll grab the best people from the best. Like we had our director already, he did a bunch of Jay-Z and Mariah Carey and you know,
Crazy.
like just crazy music videos, and now he has an eye for like TV.
I know.
It's wild, man. Like that was pretty cool. But that was the first experience. And with that said, man, now that I'm like sort of graduated and I'm hosting and stuff like that, I'm seeing production value from another side, a little bit more in depth. But that to me, I think they're all professionals, but that was like the first, like, damn, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's an operation.
This is an operation, legit. Yeah, for sure.
And so when you're up there, and I'm asking these questions personally, sorry for the when you're up there and they're like deciding, are you just like,
Hell yeah. Especially like day one, you can't talk. Like, so when you walked in and I was like, do you want to save it for the camera? That's the number one thing you hear, like, save it for the camera. So everything's like, don't talk, until you have to, hurry up and wait. And then when you have the floor, it's like you just want to say, and it's a finite time. You can't speak forever.
right?
So they give you like 2-3 minutes to explain your dish. What was the inspiration? This, that, and the third. What was wild for me, especially with my season and the food I was cooking, West African food, there was obviously all the stuff that I had to do with like, okay, this is my dish, X, Y, and Z. This is the inspiration. But then there was like an education piece that I had to do to it as well, because the judges were so unfamiliar. So now I'm like having to switch hats and put a teacher hat and competitor hat on, and all that stuff was happening
In a short period of
in
time.
a concise time. So it was just like, that to me was the craziest part, for sure. Like sort of venturing off into a whole new sort of like world of food and cuisine. And I'm thankful now, like you'll watch Top Chef, Tristan just won last season, and he's cooking that West African Caribbean food, and they have that knowledge. They're like, oh yeah, I have an understanding of this, or I've had this before, whatever the case is. So stepping stones, man, just to kind of talk about this food and this cuisine.
Yeah. I can only imagine, because then also you go up there every week and you're like, should have said this right afterward.
This is all the time.
You're like, the next time you're like sitting there just like rehearsing, and as you go up, oh man, I feel like man.
It's like an argument with your significant other. Like once it's done and you walk away, it's like, shit, I should have said this, or I should have said that. It's the same deal, bro. Like, again, it's finite, man. So there's obviously more context that you can give to your dish, or the reasons why, or whatever. Or if you messed up, like they want to know like what happened, but funny enough too, man, I was, with all that said, one of the 48 laws of power is to say less. Like, the less you say and the just like bullet points you can give them, let them sort of have their imaginations run. And that helped. So like, say less. I would say that to myself, like, all right, I have this time, but like, don't use it all. Just be concise. Say less.
Do you use the 48 laws of power a lot?
I used to, man. I think it has like some definite like groundwork. Robert F. Greene is the author.
Yeah.
And he has so many other books. Mastery, I think, is my favorite. Like the steps to really like mastering. Exactly, right? Like it's the knowledge, the apprenticeship, the going out and doing it, to the public and having the public decide if you're good or not, and then coming back and doing it all over again, right? And then it gets to a point where you become the mentor, right? And you get to teach somebody. And if you can teach somebody a concept or a thing, then you've really mastered it, right? So we get to this point as chefs, you think about like me teaching this cuisine, especially to folks who've never eaten the food or have been to Ghana or Africa, whatever the case is. I can tell you now, and this is like not even a joke, my prep cook downstairs, Jershan, is the best African cook I've ever had in my life. Like better than me, like he's just gone in and like, I've told him the basics. I told him what I want. I told him the flavor profiles. And this guy goes home, YouTubes, reads books. He's the salt of the earth, man, to me. And he's downstairs. He's in here eating him.
I want to meet him.
He's the man, truly the man. And like, it's solidified when my mom comes and she tries the first, like, who made this? I'm like, him. And she's like, wow, like it's mind blowing. So that to me, like, hopefully I'm doing something good.
Yeah, you're saying, because you taught him all this stuff,
exactly, right.
Because I always, like, that's one thing I always encourage, and I don't understand why people don't do this more. And I was at a point in my life where I didn't do it either, but it's like, learn, learn more, like always be learning, like always be growing, always trying to like improve your craft and improve anything. It doesn't have to be your craft even.
Right.
Like, reading like the laws of 48 power is
Yeah.
great. And people try and like peg that as like some sort of like control thing or whatever. Like they always try to make that book negative, but I'm like, I read it thinking like, I can now understand when people are doing this to me, right?
Well said. Yes, exactly. When you are, and it's not even like a form of manipulation. It's just, there's another great book is How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? Like tools and tactics to society and social, like, um, points and speaking to someone and how someone likes to be spoken to. And, we all sort of come into a new scenario situation, a little apprehensive, a little nervous, how to break those barriers down, just like natural things that you can do and say, that you can weave into your actual personality. It's not like you're changing who you are,
Yes.
but you're using these as tools
To communicate better.
to communicate better. That's it. That's all it is.
And I think that's probably like one of the strongest, if not the strong, it is the strongest like tool you can have as a human being is to be able to communicate well.
Massive.
It's everything.
That's it.
And I think that's where it comes into teaching,
Yeah.
because that's what I was asking next is like, when do you feel like you became a good teacher? Because that's where I think a lot of flaws happen in the training process in restaurants, whether it's back of house or front of the house.
Yeah.
Where, this happens in back of house or front of the house, but front of the house, for example, is like, I have my best server here and I'm
Yep.
going to make him a trainer now.
Sure.
Is that-
Immediately. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like, a couple of things, we have to train him how to train, but does he want to train and is he going to be a good trainer? Because you probably work with some of the best chefs. And you're like, dude, this guy can't train anybody.
Exactly.
He could run a kitchen.
Right.
He could cook amazing, but he could not train people for the life of him. So where do you think you kind of realize like this is how you teach people?
I am still, I think, naive enough to know that I'm not the best trainer yet. Like I'm on my way there, and there's flaws that I have, and this restaurant has definitely exposed them to, of like how I can communicate better, how I can train better, and sort of like see the potential of growth in certain people as well. I'm very spiritual and religious in my own right personally, and I look to like Jesus as a great leader as well, and the things that he's done to sort of like teach his teachings. But like um reading is so important, but
Yes.
and understanding self, you know what I mean, and my temperament and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
with all that said, man, like I'm learning to be better, and I'm learning to sort of like mature in this leadership role. I've had leadership positions as executive chef, executive sous chef, sous and lead line and so forth and so on. But like everyone looks to me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everyone is looking to me
Yes.
so it's like even my temperament, even like
Yes.
body language, like all of that needs to be equated into this like final formula of like how I relay messages, how I want information to be passed down, how I want our brand of hospitality to be, exhibited, all of it. So it's also been like having this restaurant, as great as it also been, has been like therapy for me as well, you know what I mean? And truly understanding myself and how I want, my thoughts and creativity to sort of be, passed down, and how I want other people to spread that. You mentioned, seeing a great server, and wanting to sort of immediately sort of like elevate them. I did that, like with an assistant general manager. He actually is still with us as a server. He himself like came to me and was like, hey, I'm so thankful for this, but I think it's too much, And like that maturity was so like powerful to me. But then also what I really appreciated about that moment was that he felt comfortable enough to come to me and tell me, you know what I mean? So like I'm creating that safe space for everyone to, not run with things and, keep things to themselves, but they can have an open dialogue with me about what they're doing, their position here, so forth and so on. So it's all growth, at the end of the day. And each day I just try to get better.
I love that. Yeah, it is all about growth. And I think that's like a mentality everyone should try and have is like all about growth, constantly growing. And I talk to people all the time, I'll be speaking and I'm like, who here wants to grow as a person? Everyone.
Right.
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 And it's like, okay, what are you doing to grow as a person?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I even say, okay, so I say Kaizen mentality, right? 1% better every single day.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so everyone that's serious about growing, I want you to pull out your phones right now and put an alarm in your phone and name it Kaizen. Have it go off every day at 8 a.m. And when it goes off, go, how did I grow yesterday? And if I didn't, why didn't I? And how can I grow today?
Yeah.
And 30% of people pull out their phone. And it's just proof. It's like people, it's like, I don't understand, right?
Yeah.
This is what you have, things you have to do to grow, and they just don't want to take the steps. I don't know why, but it's so important, right? And to your point too, what you're talking about is, talking about your relationship with that manager, but I think that's what people fail too as leaders, and even as owners, as restaurants, they don't realize like every employee you have a relationship with them,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
if you think like boss employee, you're gonna fail on some level, right? On some level. But if you're serious about growth, I want to grow people. I want to take people to the next level. I want everyone to like, Preston, how do I get everybody to deliver hospitality? How do I get everyone bought in?
Yeah.
They don't get it. It's like, well, you have a relationship with them and you have to grow them.
100%.
You have to, but you have to have that relationship, like you said, where that guy came up to you and said, hey man, here's how I feel.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Now I know now it's communication, right?
Right.
I know what you're thinking. How do I reverse engineer from here
Exactly
to
that.
develop you?
Exactly that. Like having a personal relationship, like one thing I absolutely try to do is like whoever's working the shift that day, let's have a quick moment. Like, how's mom?
Yes.
How's dad? Like, what's going on? School? Are you applying to internships? Are you doing this? Or, just trying to understand like who they are and why they're here,
Yes.
on a daily level. And that blossoms into so many amazing things like, inside jokes and handshakes and like things is just like are cool to, it's not that, on paper, yes, there's boss, employee, but then on a deeper rooted level, it's Eric and employee, it's Eric and Shirley, it's Eric and Jershin, it's Eric and Wale, and then, I think when I have that sort of relationship, a deep rooted relationship, we'll go out and play basketball on a Sunday, or we'll go lift weights, or we're going to the movies, or I'll take them to the museum. Like I want to really like, build a foundational understanding of the people that are working in here. Because when you're here with me for however long your shift is, like I'm responsible, but then more so like I care. I want to know that you are put in a position as best as possible to do your job as best as possible, and it's not just like the rudiments of like, okay, I gotta polish silverware and I gotta like, make sure I'm doing these steps on the table, but it is about like, okay, how are you feeling today? You know what I mean? Like, cause that's definitely, something that it reverberates. Like the guest is gonna feel that at you. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
And you can take in that moment to just be like, how you doing today? Like, seriously, how you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And they might be like, oh, I'm doing good, blah, blah, or, I'm having a rough day. It's like, okay, and just a 2-minute conversation, 1-minute conversation with them. Not like, oh, everything's gonna be fine, you're gonna be okay, but just it's simple like, okay, cool, I get that. I feel you. I've been there a million times.
Yep.
If you need anything, I'm here, right? I got your back. That 1-minute conversation could have like a profound impact on that day for them. Where they might just go, I just talked to someone, I let it out, feel a little bit better now, and I'm more ready for my shift.
And think about it yourself. Like if you're going through the ins and outs, like people asking you about, like, they see you, they see what you're doing and the sort of mantle that you're on. But then just like a simple, like, bro, you all right, man? Checking in. Like, how's everything?
Yeah.
Like your guard starts to like fall down a little bit. And you're like, man, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Right.
You want to just share for whatever moment or however long that is. And it's super important, man. We're all human at the end of the day, man. We're all human.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree with that. And what you're talking about too is like, I try to explain this to owners and restaurant like managers, leaders, is that people are going to follow you for 2 reasons, right? In a leadership and ownership role, they're going to follow you because you're the leader or the owner, or they're going to follow you as a person.
Yeah.
And if you can get them to follow you as a person, you're going to get the best results possible. If they're following for leader owner, then it's just a business transaction. And that's why I laugh so hard, because I'm like, you're making everything in their relationship with you business transaction. And they're saying, by the way, when you go on the floor, it's hospitality, not a business transaction.
Right.
I want you to give hospitality, personal connection, but we're business.
No, it's not gonna work.
Right. And so I think that's so important.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, leadership is truly everything. So I want to ask, because obviously you're West African food, correct?
Yeah.
Caribbean.
No, West African, definitely Caribbean lens. I think there's a diasporic sort of like view that you can take that's either very fine-tuned, or you can take like a 30,000-foot view of it. And I think when you look at it all, we're fine-tuning on Ghana, where my family's from, West Africa, but it's not far-fetched to see some of these dishes and like techniques in Jamaica or Trinidad or other parts, of the Caribbean islands. So it's very much one food, but like honing in on Ghanaian food here in Elmina is what we're doing.
So I'm new to this. Like,
Yeah.
are you to talk? What? Like, explain it to me. Like, how would you describe it? Right? 'Cause
Oh
that's the
man,
hard part.
yeah, that's the hard part. West African food is delicious, man. That's a biased answer, but like I describe it as homely. I describe it as textile. Like, the idea of using your hands to eat and feed as well is not far fetched. We have those moments of um, you know, breaking, so to speak, the Western idea of like what fine dining is. Um, you know, when you eat with your hands, there's a connection that you sometimes, most times, lose with a spoon or fork or knife, right? There's a barrier in between the food and your hand, but when you're eating with your hands, you're stripping that away. So now your brain knows immediately that when you touch it, it's hot or it's cold or it's soupy or it's whatever. And there's just more of an intimate relationship there. So we definitely invoke that as much as possible. But like flavor profile, man, it's sweet, it's heat, it's soups and stews. There's so much texture. It's plant forward, but then we have amazing like animal-based dishes as well. Um, and then we have like our stars, man, the jollof rice, the wache, the fufu, the things that I feel like a lot of people, when they hear about West African food, they want to try immediately. So it is food of a continent, it's food of a region, but like I was mentioning before, it's food of diaspora, man. So we'll see these sort of like plays so many different countries. One specific example is a drink that we have called Sobolo, Sobolo, and you'll go to Nigeria and it's called Zibolo, or you go to Senegal, it's called Bissap, or you go to the islands and it's called Soro. But essentially, it's hibiscus, it's pineapple, it's orange peels, it's allspice, it's cinnamon, it's brewed down, it's add a little sweetener to it, and we're all drinking the same thing. You know what I mean? So like, it's cool to see how one specific dish or drink in this instance sort of transforms in different places. Yeah, we're all kind of, using the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Making me hungry. And so, spice profile. What would you say that is?
Spice profile, man, it's warm spices and then it's also like actual heat. So you'll have warm spices like nutmeg, clove. We have the indigenous spices like alligator pepper and grains of selim, black pepper. That's all sort of in that black pepper family. So you have these beautiful warm spices that add an accent to a lot of the dishes, but then you have heat. Like, we're using Thai chilies. We're using, peri peri chilies, which are like a cousin to Thai chilies. Scotch bonnets and habaneros and those, and we use it with a deft hand. A lot of people think immediate spice, and I guess there's levels to it, but when you're doing it with such a deft hand, especially when you're introducing to this cuisine to folks who may have never had it, you got to understand, like, you got to bridge the gap. So what I love about this space, and specifically what I'm doing, is like, I think about it like a Venn diagram. There's one side that I'm feeding, West Africans and people from the continent that know the food. The grandmother made it, like they know it like the back of their hands. And then you have, inquisitive diners and like newcomers and people who are just really curious and try something new. And then Elmina is right in the middle of that Venn diagram, right? We're sort of serving two, and we got to be able to sort of give that authentic vibe. But then here in the restaurant, we're adding contemporary touches to sort of familiarize and sort of give an intercontinental feel to the food as well, which is just fun. Yeah.
So cool. And so I'm guessing it's spicy out there.
Yeah.
Spice.
It's
like
spice. I love spice, man, and to moderation, man. Everyone's like level is different, man. Like when my head starts sweating,
that's when you know you're enjoying the
that's when you know you enjoyed it. Yeah, man. But I do love spice. I think, it adds a complexity and a satiability to the dish that you're really looking forward to. If you like spice and whatever level you're on, it makes the sweet a little sweeter, it makes the salt a little saltier. It really kind of brings together, it works like umami. You know what I mean?
I know, because I always wonder, like, what is it drowning it out and what is it not? So when I eat Thai food, I go crazy on the Thai chilies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like embarrassing. My family's like, oh my God, Preston, I look like I'm like in a sauna. Yeah. They're like, I'm like, but it's so good. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, I mean, but I think umami might be why
Yeah.
it's just bridging that gap.
It bridges the gap, man. It's such a like a unique way to play it. And you know, for the folks who don't like spice at all or can't, you know, for whatever dietary restriction can't enjoy spice, you know, we'll have dishes that we can tailor. We can ramp up the spice. We can obviously take stuff away. But I definitely don't want folks to think like it's all spice because it isn't. There's so many different levels and complexities and dimensions to, you know, West African food, specifically Ghanaian food, that, you know, we're happy to explore over here.
I love that. So I had this reel on my Instagram with Chef Marco.
Yeah?
Yeah, and he's like, he talks about, not with me. But it was just a reel from an interview he did, and he talks about he's like, everyone thinks that you create a restaurant for food, but you know, you're creating the restaurant for the experience. And that's where like people like, he's like basically saying like, that's where you miss the mark, right? Like people a lot of miss the mark a lot. And I agree with that because Steve Jobs has a reel and he says, I learned the hard way that basically a lot of tech companies will create a product and try and sell it, right? I'm going to create this product. It's really cool. And I'm going to go try and sell it. He's like, what I learned to be the most successful is you create an experience and then you create a product that connects that experience to the user.
Correct.
Right. So that how do you have 1,000 songs in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
I want to create that experience. I know people want it. I know there's demand there. That's a good experience they can have. Now, how to create a product to meet that demand?
Right.
How do I put a computer in your pocket?
That's brilliant.
It really is.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And then it's Chef Marco's kind of saying that too. And I agree with that because no matter how good your food is, they have to go through the experience to get to the food.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to go through the server. You have to go through the host. You have to go through the ambiance.
That's so good. Yeah, that's so good.
So if your food is phenomenal, but the experience is bad, it's gonna, you know what I mean? They're already sold. Like, I'm not coming back here.
Right.
Food was amazing. Not coming back.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I was trying to explain to restaurant owners, and I'm curious your thoughts on that.
That's so good, and I see it in so many other ways. Like I often mention, like I'll come back to a restaurant if the food was maybe a miss. It could be a new chef, could be a new thing that they're trying out in the kitchen, but I probably won't come back. Most likely won't come back if the service wasn't on par because it's effort based. You know, at that point, you know, like you want to have to actually give a great experience, and you know, you think about a town as transient as DC and how many amazing other restaurants are here. Like people can spend their money quite literally anywhere else. You know, they decided to come here. So like, how do we offer our brand of hospitality that they can remember and, you know, take home and talk about it and stuff like that before even the food is mentioned? So like in a more eloquent way, I think Marco said it better than me, but like I absolutely subscribe to that, man. Like you have to, you know, when we welcome folks in to a restaurant, akwaba is what we say. It means welcome in our language in Tree, one of the many languages in Ghana. And that immediately like, oh, okay, all right, cool. We're in someplace, you know, someplace different. And then our points of, you know, our touch points of hospitality. We have a hand washing ceremony for one of our dishes because we want you to eat with your hands, like, you know, and we really want that experience, you know, to really shine through. And I love it specifically when like folks from the area come from Ghana or from West Africa come and they're being served by, you know, someone who's not from Ghana and they're like so keen on like all these lingos and stuff like that. You know, it's just a really cool, like warming experience. You know, we have a glossary of different ingredients and things that, you know, you may not be familiar with. So you're not like feeling like you're coming from ground zero. You at least have a decent understanding of like what we're trying to do here. So like all those points that I really want to hammer home because I again, I subscribe to that, man. You got to make people feel for however long their experience is with us, an hour and a half if you're doing the tasting menu, or just 40 minutes if you're just doing something off of a la carte. Like you want them to have a very unique like memory of this space. Yeah.
Yes, and unique isn't difficult and it's not expensive.
No,
It's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Like you just said something magical, right? Hand washing ceremony.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, what do I do? Well, that sounds awesome. That sounds fun, and especially if it's presented right.
For sure.
It doesn't cost extra money, and it becomes an experience. Oh, this is freaking cool. And then what are you gonna do with that experience?
Right. Absolutely.
You're gonna share it.
You share it.
Talk about it.
Easily, you know, like before you talk about the food, you talk about how you feel, you know, and people always remember that. We talk about like that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? Like people remember how you feel before they probably remember your name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you have to really like provide a warming atmosphere. And it comes with everything, man. It's a whole um sensory sort of experience too. So it's not only just, the moment where you're washing your hands, that's the touch, but it's the music you're listening to.
Yes.
It's aesthetics of the space. Obviously the food plays a part, like all of that. If you can capture, this is what I love about what we do, and I've said this all the time, but it's so true. Like hospitality, culinary arts, we have a moment to capture, I guess, all five senses.
Mhm.
Smell the food, they taste the food, obviously, they're touching it, they're hearing the sizzle, you know what I mean? They're feeling it. Like no other medium that I can think of does all of that in one experience. So like that's a great opportunity to really like throw in different points of hospitality, different points of like unique service. And when you do it right and it's not stuffy or forced, man, like that effort alone travels, that
For sure.
it goes so far.
I
Yeah.
love what you just said. But two things. One is like, yeah, you are attacking all five sensories, and two, it travels. It
Yeah.
does. That's where you get the word of mouth. That's where you get people talking about it, people excited about it. Like that's a true experience in there, right? The food's amazing. First of all, I got introduced to a whole new cuisine,
You're right.
which is
Exactly.
awesome.
Right. Right.
But I got it in their setting. Like I feel like I got a part of that culture and that taste.
Yeah.
And that's the next question I want to ask you is, I believe truly great chefs are able to put their soul and their personality and their story
Yeah.
into their food. And I that sounds kind of like a cliche, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
It sounds cliche, but bro, that's me. So maybe I am a cliche. Like I've been thinking about this restaurant. I can tell you, Preston, bro, I never had an idea what the name would be. I didn't know what city it'll be in. I didn't know like the star dishes, but I knew what it would feel like. And this is something I knew since I was about 8 years old. Like I wanted to have a restaurant that felt like this. Like I love being here, probably to a fault, man. Like I can spend hours and hours in this space because I love the way it feels and I love the sort of like push to hospitality that we're offering. But I guess more in my adult age where, this dream became more reality and it was kind of coming to be. I've been thinking about this specific space for so long. And, when it all sort of comes to a point where it's like being actualized, then the idea of like Elmina came to mind. And I did a whole YouTube deep dive and asking family and books and like, what's the perfect name for this space? And I think about like what makes me feel at home when I go to Ghana. And it's typically going to Elmina, the town, and it's a fisherman's town. It's a humble place. Um, it's one of like refuge. I put my phone on do not disturb and I'm just like with the people. I'm eating from the street vendors. I'm chilling at the beach
That's so awesome.
and I'm having a really good time.
Yeah,
And
connecting.
I'm connecting 100%. But so that's personal. But then on I guess a more impactful side, the word Elmina means gold mine, treasure. So like what brings wealth to, Ghana specifically in West Africa? It's obviously the food as a restaurant, but it's the music, it's the culture, it's the clothing. But then it's also the commodities that, are here in this space. And this is why, each room is dedicated, it looks different. So when you walk in, it's bronze, it's orange, it's burnt colors. That's the tobacco room, we walk in a little bit further into the kitchen, or in a dining space, it turns into this white, airy upholstery cotton room. You get a very unique sort of like POV of the kitchen, almost like live theater, happening where you see the chefs actually, when we're operating in the service time, you can kind of, get entertained from there. You walk upstairs and it's dark and sexy and moody. It's the indigo room, and that inspiration is the Atlantic Ocean, for all the abundance that we get as far as the seafood is concerned from, that part of the world. And then right now where we're sitting, man, is the sugarcane room, plush, greenery. I want people to feel like they're transported into Ghana, man. And sugarcane obviously being a huge export. Our rum selection sort of, mimics that as well. So everything was thought with massive intentionality. And there's a story to tell, like there's a point of our servers to kind of further really like dive into, the guest experience where, they'll give you the rundown of the hospitality or the menu, but then people ask like, why is the room changes? And then the server's just so excited, like, you know why? This is why, because, there's so many commodities that bring wealth, this, that, and the third. And, it really like deepens the appreciation of your experience when you're here for however long you're here with us. So like that, you know, and I won't take full credit, man. I gave this idea to our designer, Jimmy Drummond here in DC, and he completely like took it and blew it out the water. But that was really like the genesis of it all. And I think we really hit the head on the mark with that.
Because you know, the whole Steve Jobs thing that I brought up and the Chef Barkley thing, that was what you were doing already, right? Because you
Yeah.
were like dreaming this concept up, and of course you had like food in mind, but you were like thinking like, what do I, you know, what's the whole experience with that food? It's not just like I have all these dishes and I want to put it in a restaurant. It's like, what's that experience going to be like? So you already had that like mapped out, which I love.
Yeah, for sure. Like the food is obviously like my go-to as far as creativity and how I run, you know, express myself. But um I I dine a lot out, you know, I go out to dine and I always take in like, you know, notes of like that experience for me. And, you know, when I have the opportunity to do that here in DC, like how do I, you know, mimic some of the best places I've been to? How do I maybe improve on some of the things that I thought, you know, could have been better or whatever the case is? And then also, how do I leave myself open to feedback too? You know, like I don't know it all. You'll ask anybody here, like poke holes in everything that I do, as far as the experience and hospitality and the food, because it's my very singular perspective. It's important because it's my space, but then other people are here as well, you know, making me or helping me rather to sort of like express that in different ways. So like, how can I make this, or how can you see this operation running a little bit smoother on the experience side, on the hospitality side, on the food side? And leaving that sort of open, transparent, and genuine criticism to, you know,
Yeah.
my staff to come in and be like, "Hey, chef, I think this and this, or I think that and that, or I think what we're doing is perfect." Like, I want that sort of open communication. And all of that sort of gets aggregated and we change. Every day is different, you know, and we work on it
I
and
love
we
that.
fine tune it. And, you know, the way we started is not the way we are right now. And what's so exciting is not going to be the way we're going to be in a year from now, you know? So we're always with the mindset of just like getting better, that 1% every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Evolving.
exactly.
It's so important, and you see it at restaurants all the time too, where it's like you see, you know, opening a restaurant. I know you opened a lot. It's like when you open a restaurant, it's like it's this, right? And then 3 years later, you're like it's completely different. Like
Mhm.
all these ideas we have kind of have evolved to what, like you know, to what we want it to be. And I think what you brought up was a great point of leadership because we're talking about leadership right now at a very high level, right? Like connecting with your people, making them feel supported, listening, picking the right people in the right places. Like there's so much there where it's high level. And if you're doing all that stuff, you're going to be very successful.
Bro, it's high level, but it's also foundational too.
No, 100%.
Hundred
100%.
percent. Like I totally see what you're saying because it is. And I think to the, you know, the fat cat who's always just thinking about the money and this, like, that's the high level. But when you think about like intrinsic understanding of people, getting to know people's personalities, getting your personality across, and then getting a goal, an overall goal to be shared amongst everyone,
Yeah.
that's like base level foundation to really
Yeah.
like build up. So I agree, but I think also, man, what we're doing and what I love about what you do as well is like you hammer home those points of like the ABCs, the fundamentals, the rudiment, like that. You can't talk about it enough, you know.
Yeah.
Even if you understand and even if you bought into it, like there's still, you know, it's like watching your favorite movie 20 years from now or 20 years, like whatever movie. Yeah, Goodfellas, right? Like if you watched it right now, you're like, man, I forgot about that scene. And then you're kind of like, you fall in love with it all over again. It doesn't hurt to hear about these steps all, you know, once in a while or, you know, periodically or whatever the case is, because it's good to get that refresher and it gives you that energy to be like, oh man, this is why we're here.
100%. And it happens to me all the time too, even with me sometimes where I'm like talking to clients and we're talking about building things out. And I'm like, why have I not talked? I completely forgot about this little piece. And I keep, you know, because you see there's so much going on, right? You're like, I got to bring this piece back in, even though it's so basic. I need to bring this back in because people connect with it.
Yeah.
And I agree. And even to your point, like with Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
right? I talk about Chick-fil-A all the time, and it shocks me because sometimes I worry like that restaurant orders, like let's say for you, for example, and I know you connect with it, but like someone on you're so high level, you've done so much, you've experienced so much, that you'd be like Chick-fil-A. I'm not fast food, right? But it's the fundamentals, like you said, that people really appreciate. And so I've gone to like really nice, high-end, very successful restaurants. I'm like doing my thing and I'm speaking and I'm about to finish. And then the owner's like, oh, can you tell me about Chick-fil-A? And I'm like, oh, sure. So
Yeah.
fine dining restaurant, I'm like, okay, yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
they appreciate the fundamentals of it. Because I think people, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. I think people seek and and appreciate like the basicness of like simplicity
Yeah.
somehow. Like when you could break fundamentals down in a simplistic way, they absolutely love and crave it. Whether you're here or you're here.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Again, that foundational understanding of like the basic one, two, threes of what we're doing. And you set a goal for everyone. I set a goal for myself, but then I have to explain that goal and be able to sort of communicate that.
Yeah.
But then how do I help folks internally sort of build towards that goal? And it always starts with just basic human understanding, that means talking to people, not losing your cool when something goes wrong. Like, and even if you do, like, I tell my folks, like, if you see me lose my cool, it's gonna probably be once or twice a year. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? I cap myself off like there because like it's also what is it? Uh, the Abraham Lincoln walk straight or walk quietly or carry a big stick. Like you have to understand that like there's still hierarchy in the restaurant.
Yes.
And there's still sort of like a brigade system that we all sort of like are, beholden to.
Yes.
But with that said, like I don't want you to think of me like some sort of like tyrant or
Right.
you know what I mean? Like I'm
Right.
still a human being, that has a family, that has problems, that has like wins and successes. So how can I connect with people on that level to help me get to this goal that I have? And then, everyone here has their own personal goal, whether you're here for the long haul and, want to see this whole like enterprise through, or you're here for a summer because, you're visiting a parent or whatever the case is, like your goal. So like, let's help each other get to this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Successfully. So, and I think truly, whether it's in this industry or the next, it's about connecting with people on a level that, they can fully understand you as a person, and then they can see you as like the boss and everything else. Cause that's important too.
Yeah, it's definitely a fine line, but there has to be hierarchy,
Ju-
right? There has to be respect and stuff like that, and respect as in like in the hierarchy. So I totally agree. That's where I kind of want to go with that because it's like, you know, when people move people up to management, and this is always when this is I think the biggest disconnect in business, restaurants, but in business in general, is that there's no training for leadership, right? So it's like, you know, you have a server, awesome. I want to be a manager. Great. We're going to making you a manager. And then it's like, okay, so we're going to show you how to count the drawer. We'll show you how to swipe the card. We're going to show you how to clock people in, change things in spreadsheets, fix, adjust time, whatever, all this shift notes, but there's no emotional intelligence. Let me show you how to hold people accountable.
Legit. Yeah.
You were just working side by side with Dan a month ago, and now you're going to have to hold him accountable.
Right.
You're going to have to do that. And I'm going to show you how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Successfully and easily without any stress, because then it's like, so without that, it's like now they're dealing with all these problems and dealing with people that they worked with, and now they have this problem where they're like, I don't know how to do it. And so their anxiety goes up, their stress goes up, and then it's like you're not doing a good job, and then they hate it.
Yeah.
They hate the experience. Versus like, let's teach you how to be emotionally intelligent, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, we can't get angry. Like it's gonna happen sometimes. We're human, but like we have to really fight that emotion.
Legit.
When we see something wrong as a leader, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to fix it. Of course. You're like angry. It's like, why is that happening? Versus like, I'm gonna step back, give it some time, and then I'll address it later when I'm kind of like calmer.
Side, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and stuff like that. So I think that's what's missing with leadership is like we're not training our leaders right, and then we're blaming them. And I always compare it like where it's like I'm a boxing promoter, right? And I see this guy, oh, he'll be a badass boxer. I could tell. And I'm gonna throw him in the ring with no training, and he gets his ass kicked. I'm like,
Never mind.
terrible boxer.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, well, you didn't train him.
Exactly.
You have to train them first, and I think that's where we were talking about is like training your people up. If you really truly put the effort and time into building the systems to be able to train people up the right way, the proper leadership, then you're going to be successful on a million different levels. But also, turnover goes down.
Yeah.
Guest retention goes up. Upsells go up. Morale goes up.
Morale.
Right? Everything starts going up. And that's where we talked about like chasing excellence versus chasing success. When you're chasing excellence, you do all those things. Of course, what comes behind it, right? All those things I just said. So I just think that's a huge piece that's missing in the industry.
It is, man. And I'm not proud enough to say that that was a mistake. I don't say mistake, but that was something that I ran across too. Like, you know, with that example with, and I hope he's fine with me talking about it, like with our employee, and I love him to death because he shows so much like loyalty and gumption and understands the goal. But then you're giving him this new title, and sort of elevating him into a new role and everything, like you mentioned. He has the code to the safe box, and now he knows the spreadsheets. He knows how to set the schedule. But like that emotional intelligent piece was something that like I myself, as much as I'm honed in on it, I didn't spend enough time with him for that. So when these moments of like strife or something difficult happens, like, and you really need him to kick in that management sort of like hat or, you know, role, you know, I look at myself, I'm like, did I put him in the best position for that? And it's such a great tool and, you know, a mirror to kind of see like,
Yeah.
man, I could have done this better, or I could have, you know, so like as much as it happened, and it wasn't like something that completely broke the chain, and or it wasn't a cog in the machine that sort of like when it was pulled out, everything crumbled, but it was loud enough for me to realize like, oh, I myself as a leader have more work to do
Yes.
as well on that emotional side and that emotional intelligence, because that EQ, man, it's so important. Like
It's everything.
we may not all know how to do a spreadsheet or all know how to count the drawer, but we all know like how to talk to respect. We should, at least, you know what I
Should,
mean? Like that, you know, golden rule should all be applied to all of us. And like even in the most tense situations, that's when that golden rule like it really becomes golden, and that is, it shines a little bit more.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you really get to see like what these leaders are made of, you know, at the end of the day. So man, like in the moment I don't love it, but when I use the tools and I do it right, I look back at like whatever the instance is, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I handled that this way
Yeah.
versus the way I've seen chefs or I've experienced chefs handle it. You know what I mean? Where it's like a tantrum, or it's yelling and this and that and third. And sometimes, not all the time, actually, very rarely does that work.
Yeah.
Very, very
doesn't.
rarely does it work.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want to pull that card, especially when you do it often, it loses its luster. But like
Sure.
when you can approach a situation that has a high stress level or there's a high emotionality sort of involved with it, and you can do it in a pragmatic, calm, leadership way, not only are you proud of yourself, but then also you get buy-in from the people that were involved too. Like, man, the way Chef Eric handled that, or the way our manager handled that, was like, you know, I feel safe enough that God forbid if it happens again, I can come to him or her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can handle it with, you know, a cool head.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And like, I'm gonna talk to your staff about this later with our workshop, but like one thing that always it gets in the way of this, what we were talking about, is ego and pride. That's always tapping, right?
Yeah.
Because your ego is the one that's telling you need to handle that right now, and you need to handle with some gumption, right? You're the
Yes.
boss. Like you need to like let them know, right?
Yeah.
And it could be something where maybe they're being disrespectful, right? And I
Right.
go, now I got to go up there and
Yes.
set them straight,
Yeah.
right? But then every time I've had that feeling and I've acted on it, I've never been like, that was the right decision.
Yeah.
Felt like that was the best course of action, right? I might have said like that might have needed to be done or something like that, but I've never felt full-heartedly like that was the best course of action I took.
100%.
But when I do take the time to like back off a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I handle it calm, cool, and collectedly with empathy, I very rarely think that there's a wrong way. And most of the time, even I might think that for like a month. I might think like, dude, we're gonna cut this out, but like, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
Preston, you were a pussy about that.
Yeah.
You let that employee walk all over you. You let that employee do this. They're gonna do that. All of a sudden, it's like. But then a month goes by, and I'm like, you know what?
I'm proud.
I'm proud,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing the relationship I have with my employee now, and I did something there.
Big facts.
I freaking overcame my ego, which is so hard. Everyone, oh yeah, no problem. No, dude, it is. You should study your ego.
Bro,
How it is.
yes. Oh my God, I
It's-
subscribe to that shit all the time.
Have you studied about it?
Yes, and not like in depth. So okay, we talked about Robert R. Greene, right?
Mhm.
And the 48 Laws of Power. He has sort of a mentee, Ryan Holiday,
Yeah.
who has "Ego is the Enemy"
Yes.
title of the book.
I have it. Great freaking
Fantastic.
book.
I read it once a year. Like it's so
So good.
effing good, bro.
Yeah.
It's so good at really just stripping your ego, despite how big your title or how much experience you think you have, like that foundational piece, man. And it's so true. Like when you can take your ego out the way, and see things for objectively, Um, and understand that obviously, you know, emotions can run high and things like that. I'll be prouder in an hour from now if I handle it the right way than I would be any other way. I'd probably be ashamed if I handle it the way my ego wants me to handle it immediately. You know, in an hour from now, I'll probably be like, damn, man, that's not the way to handle it. That's not
And like I said, man, sometimes even a month. Like I said, I've had months where I'm like, I look back and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
that actually worked out really well, and I had to fight my ego. But yeah, 100% right on that. And you know, I think the study is like your ego is basic because everyone's like, you have to have a little bit of ego. It's like, no, you can have a little bit of pride or a little bit of confidence. You know, you can have a lot of confidence, but you don't need any ego, right? If you could get rid of your ego, you become it's a superpower
Massive. It is a superpower.
for sure.
It really is.
It
and
is.
Especially in a world where, like, in our industry specifically, there's a lot of alphas, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that run with, you know, it takes a lot of hours, it takes a lot of time and, you know, experience to kind of get to this point. Um, and you don't want people messing with you or fucking with you. You know what I mean? Like if they try to test you, then it's a great opportunity to push your chest out and like, this is why I'm here. But when you can kind of step back, man, that restraint it speaks volumes, man. That restraint speaks
It
volumes.
does, and when you do it too, you're leading by example, teaching by example,
sure.
right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they go, well, like if he's acting that way, then I can act this way. Or if he's not acting this way, then I shouldn't act this way, right? And then and then it's so easy to call someone out in that situation.
Right.
Be like, hey man, I already talked to you. Like we can't be talking to people like
And diffuses the situation too, man. When like people are coming to me for XYZ issue that they're having with the guest or even with an employee, and they come to me and I'm already out of like 0. When you are at a 10, you sound crazy. Like you're even yourself. I'm like, all right, I'm the only one screaming right now. All right, let me bring it down. And it just diffuses the situation.
for sure.
You know, and these are tactics that you'll see police officers and other people use in these high stress moments because it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're implemented for a reason. So like cooler heads prevail is a saying, but it absolutely like it works and it's true. When you can come into a situation, even if it's high stress, and you can like think about it as pragmatic and, you know, objectively as possible, understanding too, having the depth of emotional intelligence to understand that there are emotions that are high. How do I bring it down and how do I solve this issue, you know, at the same time? Then that leadership or, you know, that sort of like emotional management that you have internally, it speaks volumes, man, and people really respect it.
They really do. And again, like we said, it's a superpower. It's just something because you're
It's hard though, bro. It's hard.
it's so difficult because it's like your ego disguises itself. So you don't know it's your ego. It doesn't feel like it's your ego. You know, it's not easily identifiable. Like, oh, this is my ego telling me what to do.
Right.
That's what makes it difficult. Like you have to have self-awareness, like you said earlier, right? Of like, wait, what's going on here? What's happening? What are we doing? And having that awareness is huge.
It's not even just in business, man. It's platonic, it's romantic, it's with family, it's
Everything.
with every single relationship.
Just day to day, right?
Day to day, bro.
I'm not gonna get pissed because I held the door open for a guy and didn't say thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
But even though my ego's like,
Right.
fuck,
Hey,
you
hey,
should
excuse me.
Yeah. I still gotta work on that.
Yeah, dude, me too. Every day, trust me. It's like cutting. Like I try to explain to people, I'm like, when someone cuts you off, right, in traffic, you're like, and your natural instinct is to get upset.
Of course.
And you get upset because you took it personal. Like, how dare they cut me off?
Right.
They cut me. Do they know who I am? Like, they're gonna regret that. I'm gonna ride their butts, or I'm gonna like honk, or I'm gonna flip them off. I'm gonna show them that they no one cuts
Unless
me
you're the
off.
wrong person. Exactly.
Right. And it's like when you break that down, it's so stupid.
It is so dumb.
So dumb.
Stupid.
Because it's like, first of all, you're like, I cut people off all the time.
Right.
I have to. I'm like, sorry, dude, I gotta get me off the exit. I don't mean to, but I have to. And then also like it's not personal.
Yeah.
Like they did it. It doesn't matter who it was. They're gonna do it. But you take it that way. And you
Take
have
it
all
personally, yeah,
this
for sure.
stupid reaction. So if you take a second to be like,
Yeah. It's a woosah moment. You know what I
right,
mean?
exactly. And true, because I tell people too, like when the getting cut off example, it's like you can't sit there and go, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not. That doesn't work.
You're white knuckling it. Yeah. It's not gonna work, bro.
You have to really talk to yourself and be like, okay,
Yeah.
is it really intelligent to be mad right now?
Right.
Is it beneficial? Is it going to help me get to my goals to act on this like emotion?
Yeah.
Or make me have a better relationship with my daughter to act on this emotion? Right? No, it's like, so then why do I care? Why am I going to contribute energy to this? And then you can kind of, all right, I'm cool with it.
That's
right?
it. Yeah. The only time I honestly see that type of like emotion being beneficial is if I'm at the gym. You know what I mean? Then I'm like, I'm working at it. I'm like, I need that extra like
Yeah.
rev. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
but when it comes to like human, person to person, like you're going to lose 9.5 times, if not 10 times out of 10. Yeah.
Because both people in that party, if like, let's say there's an argument, right?
Right.
Like,
Everyone thinks they're right.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everyone
for
thinks they're
sure.
right. Yeah.
And let's say it's a public argument, a stranger holding the door open. So, you know, and then we get an argument because that, or I'm telling them to hurry up in line or something like that. We get into an argument. Both people in that situation don't win, no matter what. And there's no winner.
Yeah.
At the bottom line. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like it's.
And then also too, the objective party who could be around, you look silly. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
perfect example, bro. Like, there's a coffee shop not too far, and I held the door for a lady, and then she walks in, and I'm walking. She kind of like stops to kind of like look at the pastries or whatever. So I'm walking in front of her, and then she cuts right in front of me, and it was a moment for me to be like, lady, like, what's going on? But then I thought about like, if someone heard this conversation, how silly would it sound? You know what I mean? How stupid would we both sound arguing about like, you know,
Hey, that was my spot.
like, let's just, you know, it's just, we're all gonna get our coffee. Go ahead. It's all you.
Please,
It's all you.
Ladies first.
And then like after I got my coffee, I walked away from it and I'm walking back to the restaurant. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I handle it that way. Versus embarrassing myself to like an older lady. Like, come on.
And if she was crazy,
It's
all of a
all
sudden it's like you're on camera, right? And it's like, oh my God, dude, like this is terrible. Why did I say? And but your ego's like, you let that
Exactly.
slide?
Yeah.
Man.
And it kicked in.
Oh,
Then
for
you have to
sure.
be, again, emotional like management to be like, you know what? Calm down.
For sure. And that happens to me all the time. I remember I was waiting in line at Sprouts, and this lady like cuts right in front of me. Just, I mean, literally, like I'm in line and there's like kind of like that weird aisle space. So I'm kind of like giving the space to the aisle, but there's a line behind, and she just cuts right in front of me. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say something, Preston. Like, you can't let people, you can't be
Can't let her do that.
yeah, like, who are you?
Right.
You gotta show who you are.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there, and then I finally go, you know what? I'm just gonna say ladies first,
Yeah.
even if she recognizes it. I'm gonna say, no, please,
Smooth.
you
Smooth.
you go. I insist. And then she was like, we're waiting in line, and then she's about to go up, and then the cashier next to us opens up. Hey, Preston, you know, the next person, like,
Well
please.
done. Yeah.
And so I get to go, and I get out. I go line in front of her. I get out in front of her, like all like kind of like worked out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, or I could have like caused a scene and that happened, and then I'd be like, feel really stupid.
Really
right?
done. Oh wow, that's a good point. Yeah.
I just let things unfold.
Sure.
It's just
Immediately. Yeah.
like you know, it's like
It's not the end all be all in that exact moment.
it really is. It's like, and then you break it, like we said, you break it down. You're like, so I had to like puff up my chest because no one cuts in front of me in line. What world is that? Like,
How like weak are our egos too for shit like that? Come on, like really?
seriously, man, it's pathetic. Whether it's opening your own restaurant or you've been a part of plenty of restaurant openings, what are the top 3 reasons restaurants fail?
Ooh, I think it's masquerading the goal for the restaurant, you know, trying to chase these big accolades and stuff like that, forgetting the internal piece and building that foundation. I think that's major, number one. Not connecting and building community with your immediate like neighborhood and folks that live around your orbit. That is huge. One thing I love, like we'll have, we have an older couple that comes in. We have a few people that live in the area. Like as soon as they sit down, your favorite drink is ready for you. Like it's there because we appreciate like that patronage. Like you're coming in often, you know,
Hospitality.
that hospitality is massive, man. And that is like the ground zero for word of mouth, you know, when the people that are in here, you know, can really appreciate
Which is
that.
still 80% of business, by the way.
Yeah.
Word of mouth.
It's amazing. It's like all the social, you know, handles and all the social platforms are fantastic. They do their job, but like nothing spreads better than like me talking good about a space and glowing reviews about it as well. So I say that's number 2. And then, man, it's probably like a money thing. It definitely is a money thing, you know, and not understanding like the numbers game and you know, understanding where you can not falter on like quality and everything, but you still provide a great service, but you're focused on the numbers and making sure that like, hey, we can probably use less of this or more of that or whatever the case is, and tweaking. And honestly, probably just leaving things, probably the fourth, leaving things on autopilot. If you're not checking in every day,
You can't do it.
you can't do it, man. You have to honestly be, finite, even if it's 1 day a week and you really get to like know your books, and know your numbers, on a granular level. If you just leave it to just kind of be, then it's going to run its own. It has a mind of its own.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you really have to be on top of that. But I think really the culmination, or maybe one of two, or a combination of all of that, can really see a lot of restaurants fail. And that's unfortunate. But I'd say out of the four things, three of them have to do with like hospitality and excellence. Yeah, yeah.
And then, like you said, developing people. And that's why I always, the books are important, but it's also like, okay, how are we bringing in money? And that's what I talk to people about all the time, where it's like, and I say this all the time, it's like beautiful build out, right? Amazing food, right? But then we don't train our staff, or we give them the most minimal training, or the most basic training. When that should be an investment that you're always investing in.
Easily.
Because first of all, it starts with your leadership. Your leadership is literally a spigot of like how much your cash flow.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones that are controlling the place when you're not around, or they're in this room and you're in that room. They control the staff controls the hospitality experience. So the hospitality experience controls whether they're coming back or not.
Agreed.
Whether they're buying more or not.
Exactly.
Right? Whether they're upselling or not. And those are it's that, but it's like, oh yeah, no, your manager, cool. If you're a server, cool. 4 days of training, follow this person around, good to go, right?
Yeah.
So I agree 100%.
I'd say probably the fifth, man. I'm giving a bunch, but like thinking that I can handle it all myself. And that goes to the leadership and training, and
Yes.
you know what I mean? Being able to trust my leadership and training skills, that I taught this concept or this, dish or whatever well enough that I can walk away and, Shirley or, Wale or Richard can take it and make it in the way that I taught them to do it. And I don't necessarily have to be on top micromanaging, because that burns me out too,
For sure.
So yeah, like,
Micromanaging's
it's terrible, man. It's the worst.
It's literally the worst, because it doesn't get results. It burns you out, burns the person getting micromanaged out. It's literally like, it's just like throwing a grenade.
It literally, yeah, it feels like that, man. So in a figurative sense, man. So yeah, man, I'd say those top things, man. But as you mentioned, it's chasing excellence. It's understanding myself. It's not just a numbers game, man. There's emotional intelligence. There's a human aspect to this. And you can't just expect your, servers and the busters and everyone in front of the house to sort of know this automatically and kind of, translate that. You got to be able to, again, train and do it often enough that, you instill that sort of like, ethos in them.
100%, man. 100%. Well, dude, it's a freaking honor.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much. Such a fan of yours.